Hello, my name's Thomson. I'm a director of Never Mind the Buzzwords, a Scottish learning company. And today I want to talk about the learning professional as a consultant. Managers and leaders today have a whole set of challenges about making sure that they and their teams perform. Our job as a learning professional is to support them through the changes that they need to make, whether it be to help an individual to overcome a specific challenge that they are having in the business, or for the team to improve performance, to deliver results quicker or with fewer resources, or for the team to take on a strategic requirement coming from higher up in the organisation. So the key thing for the learning professional is that we can't be the order taker anymore. We have to be the order maker. Order taker is the person who is told by the manager what training course their particular member of staff requires to solve the problem. The order maker is the one who helps define clearly what the performance issue is and then works with the individuals concerned to create a plan of action that will resolve the issue. So what are some of the skills you require as a consultant? I think the first one is just think of yourself as a coach. Those of you who have done coaching programs know the critical thing here is building rapport with the individual, in this case typically the manager, asking good questions, listening carefully, listening between the lines. What is the manager saying and what is the manager not saying? And to be open to the conversation going in a multiple of directions, so be flexible. The manager might have a perception of what's going on and they want to take you to the answer. We of course know there's not the answer, there are a number of answers, and we want to help them get to that. Which brings me to the point of root cause. What we need to make sure when we're talking with managers and with their staff is that we truly understand the root cause of the problem and not some symptom that is easy to resolve. I know many managers, they're extremely busy. They have got many things to concern themselves and something comes along, they're not quite sure how to deal with it, let's get a quick fix. And often the quick fix doesn't work. In my colleague Anna Beckworth's video, The Learning Pharmacy, she talks quite extensively about this, and one of the stories is, for example, I have a headache, so I take an aspirin or a paracetamol, and a short time later my headache has disappeared. However, if I've got bad posture, then of course it's going to reappear and I have wasted time and money on a short fix. And if we're going to do performance improvement, we've got to get past short fixes. We've got to stop spending money on fixes that don't really work in the longer term, and we've got to spend the money on the longer term solutions. And of course, what is the issue about root cause? It's because we're dealing with human beings. If we talk simply about technical training, there's less problem. We know what needs to be learned and the individuals can proceed and it'll be clear to them what they need to do. This is typically at the knowledge and skills level. Once we move into departments, into teams, we're often dealing with behavioural issues and we've got to get to the bottom of what that is. Now the first thing is we're going to be, say, talking to the manager. That manager will have a perception of what is going on. They will have a limited view of what has been going on in their department or a limited view of what is happening with the individual. Let's take an example. The individual is not delivering my reports on time. Therefore, they need to go on a time management program. In fact, when we get to the more detail, it's not the individual that has the problem, it's the process delivering information far too late to allow the individual to deliver the reports on time. So delving a little bit deeper into the issue will identify the root cause and we can then start to truly fix it rather than hoping that by doing time management the data will arrive quicker. Doesn't make sense, but this is what we do in business. So what we want to do as a consultant is get evidence of getting data. So the medical metaphor continues. What is the doctor looking for when he comes to see us? He's looking for various symptoms and then attempting to understand what those symptoms mean. So the headache, is it just a headache? Is it stress related? If it's stress related, I need to fix the issues that are causing the stress, or the problem will continue. So we need to get to the root cause. And so we need to get to data. We need to get to evidence. Now, the manager alone will not have all the information. So quite often, if we're with a good manager, they will be happy that we then go and talk to the people concerned. If it's an individual issue, what is your perception, we might say to the individual, of what's going on? Your boss says you're not delivering the results on time. What is actually going on for you? And we can get information from them. We can also facilitate discussions with the whole team if there's a team issue. So we need to have all those skills that go with facilitating getting answers from a variety of people. Surveys can be a very good way of going about it. Getting lots of data from a multiple source so that we've got a better understanding. So clearly, if we don't get the root cause, whatever solution we have will be suboptimal. In fact, it may just be wasting time and resources. I remember speaking with a learning person many years ago, and they said that their training for one person had been a communication course in year 1, then repeated in year 2, and they repeated it in year 3. So this individual has gone on the same course for 3 years running, and guess what? There was no change. Why? The individual didn't know why they were going on this communication course. The manager never explained to them what it was that he wanted them to do differently, and of course the training person didn't involve themselves in trying to understand what the real issues were. This probably had nothing to do with communication. It could easily have been the fact that they didn't get on with their boss. They didn't respect their boss, so therefore they weren't very forthcoming in terms of their communication. So, in terms of our questioning, what we want to do is get to the first part. What is the performance issue? Don't tell me what the problem is. Tell me what you want fixed. Tell me what the future will look like with this problem fixed. This starts taking us into the future, thinking about what it will be like if this problem has disappeared. And of course that then tells us, both the manager, the direct report and ourselves, what is being looked for. We will be able to measure sometime in the future whether or not we've been successful. All of us can measure because we all understand what we are trying to achieve. So that's the key part. This then takes us into the knowledge, skills and behaviours that are critical to the change that we're looking for. Now, I would expect the manager and the direct report to be able to articulate these reasonably well, and as the learning professional, give them some support. For example, if I have a variety of competencies to hand, then I can move the individuals through to what they are trying to say into something much more understandable, something which we can transfer across later to our designers and deliverers. These are the competencies that I want to have once we have made the change that's wanted. So before we go into getting all the answers to the learning process, we need to complement this with the non-learning issues. Are there any? Is it just a matter of the individual just learning something and applying it? This could be the case. However, in the Gilbert model, what he says is there are maybe 6 different questions you could be asking. First and foremost, in terms of the environment, does the individual really understand what's expected of them? Do they have all the resources that they need? And this would take us into things like, do they have good procedures? Are the processes effective? Do they have the computer systems that would support them in doing their job? And then, are they motivated to make the change that's wanted of them? So is there a penalty if they don't change? Is there a benefit if they do change? So we want to make sure that before we send somebody away to do some learning, that all the other aspects have been thought through. And this would include the behaviour of the manager. Does this manager support? Does this manager motivate? Does this manager give credit when good work is done? Because this can have an effect on the individual as well. So we want to understand all the non-learning elements and have a plan for those alongside the learning. So we've now got the learning elements and the non-learning. As the learning professional, I'm going to leave the non-learning to others, and I'm now going to concentrate on the learning part. And my job now is to make sure that my solution, and perhaps that's in agreement in support of a vendor, but my solution is going to deliver the knowledge, the skills and the behaviours that this individual require when they are doing their job correctly in the workplace. And that's really the fundamental role of the consultant as a learning professional. Making sure that you know what the issues are, making sure that you have a profound agreement with all the stakeholders about how this problem is going to go away, and then proceeding, looking both at learning and non-learning solutions, making sure they go in tandem, of course, that you have a proper plan of action. There are many other elements of successful implementation of change which we'll look at in another video. Thank you very much.